rabbit bow really shoots smooth. Man, that's nice. This Molly bow is a real smooth shooter. Did you ever think about making a bow? I've made 5 so far. 3 for myself, 1 for my next door neighbor, and 1 for my sister-in-law. And I gotta tell you, they all are smooth as hell. Bam! Look at this. Made it myself. It's a good looking bow, isn't it? Out of red oak. Cost me in total, I don't know, less than $25. Less than $25. But you know, what I really wanted to speak to you about real quickly is about a book that I think you should get. I think you would enjoy it. It's called A Bowmaker's Notebook, written by John Riggs. Zero in on that. John Riggs. This guy can put some bows together. He's got a YouTube channel you might want to check out. I found him by mistake. Saw him making a mollygabbed bow, or firing one that he made, and it was awesome. And I've been hooked on watching his bow videos ever since, and I bought his book. I had already been making bows, but you know what? Let's take this inside. We'll talk a little bit more about the book inside. So this is the book that I was talking about. A Bowmaker's Notebook by John Riggs, a friend of mine, John Riggs, if I'm able to call him a friend. I only really know him through YouTube, but I feel like we're kind of friends. He's got a lot of very useful videos and out on how to make bows, and here's one of his aids where he has 3 projects. He's got a D bow build, which is just your typical, you know, looks like the shape of a D when you make the bow. It's a bending handle bow. He shows you how to and walks you through a longbow, and then also a gull wing bow, which is basically a little horse bow at the end. It's not a very long read. You can get through this book pretty quickly if you can speed read like I can. It'll only take you a couple hours. It's got like 196 pages in this book. But he covers all kinds of stuff. And what I really like about it the most is that, like my Bible, it's wide margined. So not only can you highlight, but you can put your own notes in here to help you out. You see something that you'd like or sticks out, and you're like, in your brain, you're like, oh, I don't want to forget that. Like right here on this one, you know, I highlight some things here, and then I put right in here where John states, you know, you don't ever want to pull down too far or past the draw weight that you're aiming for when you're tillering the bow. This is good information, you know, because if you just, you know, start tillering your bow and you're yanking and pulling down on that, thinking you're exercising the limbs, you could actually be damaging the limbs. And John covers all that in here. He covers all the different types of wood you can use, hardwoods. He's the type of guy that can go out there, cut down a tree, and make 30 bows out of it. I can't do that. Nor will I even want to try and do that. But if I wanted to try and do that, you know what I'd do? I'd go to the sections here in this book, and I would actually read up on that. And, you know, it's just, this is a great tool. You know, like I noted here, and I just drew an arrow and I made it big as and bold so I could see. The back is under tension. The belly compression. He covers the terminology and stuff that you need to know when making bows. This is stuff that can you make a bow without reading this book? And sure you can. I did, but there are things that I learned after reading John's book that I didn't know that I wish I had known when I first started. For example, John points out in the book, he's even pointed out in his videos, that the bottom limb is under more tension than the top limb. So you want that to be a little stiffer between the two. That's good information. Well, I didn't have that information when I made mine, and I just made mine tillered evenly. So now, to do it correctly, I'd really have to go back and take a little bit more off the top limb, wood that is, shave just a little bit off to correct that. Now, my bows fire pretty darn good, and unlike John doesn't like to have a center shot shelf put in there. I do that on my own. He likes to shoot off of one side or the other side, so it's a bow that could be shot either way when you make them. But again, this book is going to cover certain things that I'm not going to do. I'm not going to go into the woods and have to identify certain woods, knowing which wood would be good or bad, whether it's too moist or too dry. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to march my ass down to Lowe's or Home Depot, and I'm going to buy a red oak board, which is basically the only kind of board. A quick story. That's all I can get around here. You know why? Because that's all you can get around here. I went to an 84 lumber yard thinking, well, you know what? John says, you can get black cherry wood, you can get, this type of wood, that type of wood. Mahogany would be a nice hard wood to use. Walnut wood would be, decent wood to use. And, he covers all kinds of things. He goes on, what you need to look for in so far as the grain and all that. So I went over to 84 Lumber thinking, I'm going to get myself a couple different pieces of wood or wood boards rather than the red oak. That wasn't going to happen. Why? Because 84 Lumber said, we only deal with studs, like the 2x4s, made out of pine, furring strips and stuff like that. I said, this is a lumber yard, right? Well, yeah, it is, but what's this world coming to? You can't get different woods at a lumber yard? And then I went online and tried to order some wood online. You know what I got for that? It was called a virus. I got a virus from the website trying to buy wood. Isn't that great? So I'm just going to be using red oak boards. If I can find a hard maple board, I'll buy that from Lowe's or Home Depot. But John could tell you, yeah, that tree will work, this tree will work. We can cut that down and I can make about 10 bows out of that. And I'm going to tell you exactly how you need to cut that wood. What angles, what this, that. You know what? John's already forgot more than I'm ever going to learn. I don't even need to know all that. But great book, John. I'm only going to give you 4 out of 5 stars. Why? Because you left the mollygabbet bow out. Mollygabbet? No, Joe, that's pronounced mollygabbet. No, the actual way to pronounce that now is mollygabbert. But you sound like a flaming homo if you pronounce it like that. So we're just going to stay with, I'm going to use the American slang version, which is mollygabbet. Or I like to say my molly bows for short. Anyway, John, you left that out. I don't know. Can we come out with an addendum or something and put it at the end of this? You got 3 bow builds here. No molly bow. Sorry, bud. You lost a whole lot of credibility and points on that with me. That's what drew me to watching you and subscribing to you is your molly bows. I caught you one time showing off one of the bows that you built, and I was like, man, I was blown away. I was like, this guy knows his stuff. Anyway, you do know your stuff, and the book really is worth 5 stars, but not getting it from me. You're only going to get 4 because you left out the molly bow. Anyway, think about an addendum that we could put on the back of this, and you know what? I'll do another review and give you 5 stars. Till then, buddy, you're only getting 4.